Welcome to the CAD Builder video tutorial series. In this video, we will take a look at how to create and configure lock dowel connection constructions in CAD Builder. CAD Builder's lock dowel template supports two connection types, channel lock and H-clip. Lock dowel connections are commonly used for flat pack and similar cabinet applications, but the two connection types use different machining and assemble in different ways. A channel lock uses a keyhole style channel created with a specialized router bit. During assembly, the lock dowel connector is pushed or pulled through the channel and into the locking portion of the profile. This allows the joint to be assembled and disassembled. An H-clip uses a different routed channel. The H-clip has a flexible locking tab at the top that bends as the parts are pushed together and then returns toward its original shape inside the channel. This holds the joint in place in a way that is similar to the locking action of a zip tie. Unlike channel lock, an H-clip connection is permanent once assembled and is not intended to be taken apart. Spring pins may also be used with an H-clip connection to provide additional shear strength. CAD Builder makes the spring pin machining optional because a shop may instead use regular wooden dowels or another method for added shear strength. Both connection types require specialized routing. The lock dowel pinholes and any enabled spring pin holes also include edge boring operations. Since most standard CNC routers cannot perform edge boring, those holes may require a separate machine or a separate machining process. Let's see how this works. We'll begin by opening Connection Constructions. In the default folder, select the lock dowel template. Since the template is read-only, use the copy icon to create an editable copy. Give the new connection construction a name your shop will recognize, such as lock dowel connection. The first setting is lock dowel type. We will begin with channel lock. When channel lock is selected, the lock dowel channel lock shape setting is used to choose the specific version of the channel lock hardware. The available choices shown here are the barbed channel lock, the mini 32mm barbed channel lock, and the mini barbed channel lock. Each option uses a different routed profile, so select the shape that matches the exact lock dowel hardware that your shop is using. The default is set to the barbed channel lock, so for this example, I will keep that selection. Next is invert lock dowel slot. This setting reverses the direction of the keyhole style channel and controls which direction the connected part must move to lock during assembly. When inverted is selected, the lock dowel part is pushed towards the front, right, or top of the cabinet to lock it in place. When not inverted is selected, the lock dowel part is pushed towards the back, left, or bottom of the cabinet to lock it in place. Select the option that gives the installer the correct assembly and disassembly direction for that joint. For this example, I will keep this at the not inverted option. The lock dowel pinhole diameter controls the diameter of the hole bored into the edge of the mating part for the lock dowel pin. The default is set to 0.315 inches or 8 millimeters. This would use an 8 millimeter drill bit. The lock dowel pinhole depth controls how far the hole is bored into the edge of the part. The default is set to 0.8268 inches or 21 millimeters. These two settings control the edge boring operation. They do not change the face routing operation used to create the channel lock profile. Before changing either value, compare it with the specifications for the exact lock dowel connector that your shop is using. Now, let's turn to lock dowel type and select H-clip. The H-clip uses a different routed channel from the sliding keyhole style profile used by channel lock. The flexible locking tab on the H-clip bends as the parts are being pushed together. Once the tab enters the locking area of the routed channel, it returns toward its original shape and holds the connection in place. The lock dowel pinhole diameter and lock dowel pinhole depth control the edge bored hole for the lock dowel pin. The supplied H-clip template uses 8 millimeters for the diameter and 21 millimeters for the depth. Next is spring pin enabled. CAD Builder allows the spring pin machining to be turned on or off. The spring pins provide additional shear strength across the completed H-clip joint. Enable this option when your shop will use the lock dowel spring pins. Disable it when the connection will use regular wooden dowels or another method for added shear strength. For this example, I will keep spring pin enabled and set it to yes. The spring pin position controls where CAD Builder places the spring pins in relation to the H-clip connectors along the joint. The available options are before connectors, after connectors, and between connectors. Use the diagram on the right to confirm the selected position. For this example, I will keep spring pin position set to before connectors. The spring pin boring hole diameter controls the diameter of both spring pin holes. The supplied template uses 8 millimeters. The spring pin edge boring hole depth controls how far the spring pin hole is bored into the edge of one part. We will keep this at 26 millimeters. The spring pin side boring hole depth controls how far the matching spring pin hole is bored from the side face of the adjoining part. Let's keep this at the default of 14 millimeters. These dimensions are starting values. Compare them with the specifications for the exact spring pins or dowels your shop is using before releasing the connection for production. The remaining settings control how the lock dowel connections are distributed along the joint and apply to both connection types. The lock dowel center's arrangement controls the overall distribution of the connections. We can set this to front to rear, rear to front, front and rear, or centered. For this example, I will set this to the centered arrangement. The end lock dowel center position controls the location of the first connection from the end of the part. This can be set to an exact distance or to a minimum distance. For our example today, I'll set this to an exact distance of 76 millimeters. The lock dowel center quantity controls how many connections CAD Builder adds to the joint. For our example, I will keep the quantity of 2. Adjust the arrangement, end position, and quantity according to the length of the joint, the connected parts, and your shop's construction requirements. Use parts gap when an intentional space is needed between the connected parts. We will leave parts gap set to 0 for a tight joint. Under CNC, select CNC connection parts when you want CAD Builder to include the supported lock dowel surface machining in the CNC process output. For channel lock, this includes the keyhole style routed profile. For H-clip, this includes the routed H-clip channel. The lock dowel pin holes and enabled spring pin edge holes are edge boring operations and may need to be completed separately from the standard CNC face routing operation. Finally, select the appropriate lock dowel connector from your material collection. Currently, the default is set to no connectors. Click on the right-hand column to choose the connector your shop is using. This allows CAD Builder to include the hardware quantity and material cost in the materials list. I'll select the first option, E900BP, hit OK, and select the option in the center to initiate. When H-clip is selected and lock dowel spring pins are being used, also select the appropriate hardware under lock dowel spring pin on the right-hand side. Once the settings are complete, save the connection construction. Next, open the cabinet construction method and apply the lock dowel connection construction to the desired joints. For this example, I will apply the connection between a fixed shelf and the cabinet side. Generate a test cabinet, open the wireframe, and turn on Show Processing. For channel lock, verify the selected channel lock shape, the keyhole style routed profile, the locking direction, and the lock dowel pinholes. Here we can confirm that the connected part moves in the intended direction to lock and can move in the opposite direction when the joint needs to be disassembled. For H-clip, we can verify the routed H-clip channel and confirm that the flexible locking tab engages the channel when the parts are pushed together. When spring pin machining is enabled, also verify the spring pin position, the spring pinhole dimensions, and the added shear strength of the completed joint. For either connection type, also verify the center's arrangement, end center position, center quantity, parts gap, and selected connector materials. Open the materials list and confirm that the correct lock dowel connector and spring pin quantities and costs are included when those materials have been assigned. The dimensions supplied by the default template are starting values. Before using the connection in production, compare every machining value with the specifications for the exact channel lock, H-clip, connector, and spring pin your shop is using. Because lock dowel connections require specialized routing and edge boring, manufacture and assemble a test joint before releasing the setup for production. For a channel lock test, verify the routed profile, the assembly direction, the locked fit, and the ability to disassemble the joint. For an H-clip test, verify the routed channel, the flexible tab engagement, the permanent locked fit, and the additional shear strength provided by the spring pins or dowels when they are used. As you can see, Cab Builder allows you to select either a channel lock or H-clip connection, configure the required machining, control the connection placement, and include the selected hardware in the materials list. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. For more video tutorials, please visit our website at www.cabbuildersoftware.com/training. Thank you.